All right. So, um, today was extremely frustrating. Down 77 bucks on the day. Um, very, very whippy day. Um, Up and down throughout the day. Again, couldn't get a groove. Couldn't find a groove. Had a nice win on Hoover first thing in the morning. Was up decent on IBIO here. I am holding size, and we'll go through that momentarily. But I was just buying tickers just to buy tickers today, and I really need to. I really do need to stop doing that because it's really impacting my P and L, and it's becoming a problem. So tomorrow, going into tomorrow, I really need to focus and stop just willy nilly buying anything that I think has a pulse, because it's really impacting my P and L. I tried to focus specifically on my watch list today that I had built out last night, my primary. The problem was there was just so many options that I couldn't focus at the open on a specific one. I did take Hoover, which ended up working in my favor, but outside of that, it took me a couple of hours to clean up my primary watch list and dwindle it down to a more limited list. So unfortunately, today was a red day, another red day, back to back. Ideally, I would love to see IBIO start to push here in after hours, but it clearly is not getting any momentum or buyers as of now. So we shall see on that. Let's start with FTech. This one, I should have waited for more confirmation on this. There is no reason for me to start buying this. Was looking for the hold or the double bottom on this day here at 196. It looks like it double bottomed possibly on this 192 day. But it was below the 4-hour 9 SMA, so there was really no rationale for me to have bought it. I did anyway, and it was really frustrating. I'm trying to get fancy, and that's my biggest problem. Is I'm trying to outsmart the market, and it never works out in my favor. And I up to this point I haven't learned that I'm never going to outsmart the market. So I really need to focus on those leaders and focus on the winners, and setups that are in my playbook, that I have in my war chest and on my tool belt, and focus on those because I can make a living out of those. FTech, for instance, today or last week, I swung that from this breakout day through, ended up making $800 on the trade. It was a solid trade, and then I gave back $91 today. So again, no reason for me to have traded this. I saw this hammer candle here on the soak with higher volume and thought to myself, all right, maybe I'll get in and try and get in at a lower price. But I scaled in too much. It was smaller size. I mean, I only had 1,000 shares, but still, as this broke down below this 192 level, 193, 194 level, I'm out $91 on the trade today on this ticker. So really frustrating. I should never have taken this trade to begin with. I should have waited for the break of the prior day high or this 52-week high at 214. And at the very, very, very least, waited for it to get back over the 9 SMA on the 4-hour. But I was just trying to get fancy, and it did what it should have done. It kicked me in the face. So that's what I get for trying to outsmart the market. Hoover. This was my biggest win of the day. Really, really, really nice trade on this today. Missed out on quite a bit of opportunity through this secondary leg here, but really happy with the front side that I caught. Daily was just rock solid. I've been really, really focused on these spinning top plays, and this was just a really, really nice setup where we have this spinning top up here at this nice ascending triangle break. 52-week high, really close by at 163. We did get the close above this 132 level on this upper wick right here. So I am still very bullish on this ticker. We'll see. Maybe we get a pullback day. I would expect to get a pullback day tomorrow with the way the 30-minute is shaping up. But we'll see. I just started focusing at the open. I took two starters, 1,000 shares at 114. And I thought to myself, okay, what I've been finding is as long as this holds the body, the top of the body of the prior spinning top candle, then I am bullish. And if it breaks down below, in this case, the open of this body the prior day, then I am exiting the position. And that was 112. So, or 113, excuse me. So I had room, or I had a really, really nice entry, excuse me. And because of that, I felt comfortable getting in pre-market here and just letting it sit and ride because 113 was, right here, and it was holding the entire time I was in it in pre-market. Then at the open, we got this chop. We got this opening range candle that held, but I was getting a little skeptical. The only reason why I held was because it held this 114, which was my entry, so I felt comfortable holding it because I was at break even at the very low of day. And then on top of that, this candle was the highest volume candle, and then thereafter it was just very, very illiquid. We got some volume in this candle, but compared relative to the opening range candle of 50,000 shares, this was all kind of just mute. It then popped up here, and I thought to myself, all right, I could get involved in here as volume is starting to increase, but the bid was still a little shaky, and I thought to myself, all right, you know what, I'll just sit and I'll wait until we get the break of high of day. So the bid or the ask got bought. I threw 4,000 shares at 118. I wanted a 5,000 share position. I got a great fill, got 118. It pushed up and then it kind of stalled here at 120. And I thought to myself, all right, that's this prior day high at 120. So let me just shed some. And I shed way too much as it stalled through here. Shed way, way, way too much. I shed 4,000 shares. It then popped up, and I thought, damn, I was an idiot for scaling out that quickly. I did not give this the opportunity to cook. So I do want to get back involved with some decent size. So I got back in with another 2,000 shares. So now I'm at 3,000 shares again. And then I scaled out of 500 and then added back another 2,500 to get to that full size 5,000 shares. It then pushed through this 125 level, and I started scaling in 500 share tranches, which just worked out really, really nicely. I got a little spooked on this breakdown here, but I thought to myself, you know what? As long as it holds this 127 level, I am in. Especially because on the 5 minute it was holding really, really well above the 9 SMA. So I wanted to make sure that I stayed patient and didn't screw up like I did earlier in the day in the move. So I just stayed patient there. I scaled out and then cut the remaining at the breakdown below the 9 SMA here. I started to add back in as this broke down, which is really, really stupid on my part. I should have waited for the final flush, which you don't really know when that's going to occur, but I should have waited for. I thought to myself, all right, this is testing VWAP. Maybe we get a hold and a consolidation here along VWAP, and then the push through. But as the 9 was starting to look like it wanted to converge with the 50, I should have just let this run its course, chop around in here, and then get back involved in here as this kind of broke up and started to retest this 127 level. I got back involved 126. It broke up, but it just felt weak, and I got really scared. Not scared, but I didn't feel comfortable holding the position as it kind of just chopped around, considering I got chopped out here for a $30 loss or $20 loss, whatever it was, 25. I didn't want to get chopped out here for another, $20 loss. I wanted to make sure that I was maintaining my gain. So it perked up a little bit. I cut it for a $10 win, and then it proceeded to push through to high of day. Now, I do think this goes to 52-week highs at some point this week or next week, considering we're all already at Wednesday. But just a really rock-solid setup. So, if I can focus on just finding these setups every single day and, take one or two of these a day with some more size maybe, maybe take 10,000 shares or take the 5,000 shares and hold through these pullbacks, especially considering or re-adding on this double bottom right here at 121. Making sure that I'm being smart with my trades and not just willy-nilly and throwing money at random tickers that I feel as though may make a move. So this was just a really rock solid setup, and unfortunately, I left a lot on the table with this trade, but still was able to extract almost $400 out of it. So that was a really nice start to the day, and then unfortunately I gave it all back and then some. So that was really frustrating. HSDT. Oh wow, this one really sold off, fell off a cliff here. So this was one that popped up on the gap scanner in pre-market. It was holding the 9 SMA, and the 9 was converging with the 200. We had this really nice bull flag right here. Jesus Christ. That broke out in here. But we also got a little smaller flag right there that broke out. And I was just watching that breakout, and I was looking to get involved. So I got involved at the breakout. I was looking for this candle to break as it broke above this 1 minute candle high, but I just didn't wait for the 160 break. And as soon as I slapped it, I thought to myself, man, I should have really waited for that 160 break, but I'll stay patient and let this run its course. And then before I knew it, I was down $100 and I cut it and I got bottom ticked. This went down to 150, so I almost got bottom ticked at 151. Really, really, really stupid on my part, because then it proceeded immediately to reverse, and I could have made, quick $100 if I would have held it up to 170 or so in this candle here. But really, really, really frustrating on my part. Really, really frustrating on my part. I was going to get re-involved. I was going to add back in at 160, and I kind of just watched it stall here at 162 at VWAP, and then I thought, all right, well, I'll wait until it breaks it. Then it broke it here, and then it was at 165, 166, and I thought, all right, I'm not going to enter here. It feels a little bit too extended now. And then it pushed up to 175, and then pulled back thereafter. So just really, really frustrating trade on my part, because it was a solid thesis for a quick scalp. Unfortunately, it was just an awful entry and exit. Just the trade entirely, and execution from both entry and exit perspective was just awful. So, I just need to do a better job of, recognizing, okay, what's the range of the prior candle? Where's my stop? What should my entry be? And making sure that the size of the entry is appropriate based off of where my stop is. My problem with these quick moves is that it's not that I can't think that quickly. I just get so in my head that my brain is more focused on the entry and not the size. Plus, you know, if I'm willing to lose, $50, that's, less than 500 shares. It would be about 300 to 400 shares with slippage. So to the upside, I would only be making $30-$40. So it really doesn't pay to be taking that type of trade with that kind of size. So unfortunately, I just need to do a better job of recognizing, okay, it's tapping 160. It hasn't broken. I'm not a buyer unless it breaks 160 or pulls back to this 150 area, which was the prior candle low, and kind of double bottoms and retest that area. Instead, I got impatient, slapped 160, and then it proceeded to pull back to 150. I cut it, and then it pushed right back. IBIO, I have far too much size that I really feel comfortable with in this, but I really like this daily setup. I don't like that it hasn't had a vol spike day recently within this little structure here, but it has had some back here. I also don't like that if we go to 422, the point of control is at 103. So that it's really starting to spook me. I really wish that I didn't have this much size, but I just continued to go against my better judgment and just continue to accumulate to try and bully this stock that is going to only bully me in the long run. So, the structure's there, but unfortunately the volume profile doesn't look great. On the 4 hour, we did get the convergence through the 200. The 9 just converged with the 50, and with the 20, excuse me. Both of them are turned upward, and we have the 50 that looks like it's starting to curl through as well. So the daily, really, really strong, holding along the 9 SMA here. And on the 30-minute, we've got really, really strong structure here as it kind of just consolidated along this 90 level. The problem is I have 12,000 shares, and I'm not willing to risk it down to 90. I wanted to see the break through $1 today, or at least the test of it, but unfortunately it was not able to get there. So we'll see if this can go at some point. Had some nice buyers earlier in the day, 20,000 shares, and then another 20,000 share. It looks like a seller, but I think this was a buyer, and then a small 600 share seller that brought this down. And then throughout the day, not really many buyers. We got some here, 14,000 shares. We got another one here, 11,000 shares. Some through the high of day at that point there. And at the end of the day, we started getting some nibbles, some bites, but I wanted to see that push through 99, and it just wasn't able to do so. There is a nice wall there at 99 or just below 99 on level 2, so that's going to be fun to try and get through. This isn't a ticker that moves in after hours or pre-market typically, so I don't expect this to do anything anytime soon, or not until tomorrow morning at the open. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. IINN, this was my biggest loser of the day. This had a really strong daily that I missed on my prep last night, which I'm really, really frustrated about. But I think the reason as to why I left it off was because the 9 on the 4 hour was converging bearishly there. But this just had a really nice open push. There was a little bit of a gap up, and then just pushed through. I got involved late, but I was green at one point up here, and then I just sized in too much, and it ended up failing, and I cut it for a nice $200 loss, which was extremely frustrating. I thought this was going to push up to this 98 level, the 200 on the daily, 4 hour looks strong. Maybe we get continuation tomorrow with the spinning top. Definitely something that's going to continue to be on my watch list for tomorrow. But looking back at this, if we look specifically at the 5 minute, this was just far too extended up here to be adding. The 9 just needed a breather to converge with the 20 or contract to the 20 to allow price to kind of take a breather, and that's exactly what it did. So I'll be watching this spinning top tomorrow. If we get a gap up in the 81, 82 range, that would be fantastic, and then look for the 84 break and push to that 98 level, which is the daily 200 SMA. So we'll go from there. My entries were all awful, other than in here through this consolidation, but I should have been exiting up here as this didn't show any strength trying to break through high of day. KBSX. This one was extremely frustrating. This had a phenomenal 30-minute structure, holding this support trend line here for this kind of pennant structure or wedge structure. 4 hour rock solid, 9 looks like it's converging with the 200, and then also the 20 just converged with the 50. But I was getting involved down here through this kind of consolidation in here at 217 area. I got 216, 218, 219, 215. So I had a nice 2,500 share position. It was stalling at 22. I cut 500 shares at like 219, I believe. I sold it at 220 as the bid got ripped out, and I think I got filled for 100 shares at 220. Let's actually see. Yeah, 220, and then 219 for 100 or 200 shares, whatever it was, and then it flushed, and I cut right there the rest. So I was up like 120 bucks up here, which was nice. And I was thinking to myself, man, I should probably be scaling out, but this structure looks rock solid. It's holding this downtrend or this trend line support really, really well. I'm going to stay patient because every time I don't stay patient and I cut too early, it ends up breaking out. But in this case, it ended up breaking down lower, and I ended up with a $5 win. This was the biggest punch to the gut of the day. I had this on my watch list, but for some reason I took it off, and I can't remember if it was this breakdown right here in this candle that I took it off or what, but man, what just an absolute gorgeous 1 minute flag right here that formed along the 9, and then just absolute evisceration of shorts. An almost entire dollar move from 340 up to 430. I tried to get a backside curl, didn't happen, gave it 50 bucks. Really, really, really frustrating. I've been finding that I've been getting in on these backside attempts way, way, way too early. I just need to stop with the backside. I really do need to stop with the backside. Unless it's closer to high of day or has formed a substantially more a larger base, there's no reason for me to be trying to get fancy and involved in here. Structure's that not there. It's not above VWAP. It was just super, super ugly, and it was piss poor execution on my part. Gave it 50 bucks. Really, really, really frustrating. NAOV. This one was a gapper, leading gapper of the day. One of the leading gappers. I tried to get involved twice at VWAP break here after we got 1, 2, and then the third retest. Tried to get the break of VWAP, the break and hold of VWAP. Got chopped out there for a $10 loss, $15 loss. Then got back involved on this soak right here on this hammer candle, looking for it to curl back through. It never did. Cut that, $15 loss in total. Really stupid trade. 30 minute just had too much selling pressure here on this candle for it to find any sort of strength coming into here. Buyers just weren't present. And it looks like it has since kind of just failed thereafter. So really, really stupid on my part. NPWR. This is one that I've had on my watch list for a week and a half now, waiting for this to break this $3 mark. And I took it off my watch list this morning as the 9 looked like it wanted to bearishly converge with the 20. But this had a different plan in mind. It got a double bottom here at 241 and then just ripped straight up to almost 290 area. And then I tried to get involved at the end of day on this double bottom here at 260. Thesis, it's not my type of play, and I'm trying to get fancy, and I ended up giving it $17 that I didn't need to give it. I'm just trying to get fancy. What I really need to do is just wait for this to break this $3 mark, or show some sort of setup inside or below that $3 mark for me to feel comfortable getting involved. But right now, there was no setup, and I was just forcing a trade to try and just extract anything I could out of it, because I was down on the day and I wanted to make something out of nothing. SNPX, this one, at first I didn't trust this. I never really trusted this at all, actually, because of this huge hanging man candle. But then we got this spinning top yesterday, and then this breakout, the gap up and break, and this did not see a break below a prior candle low at all today. On the 30-minute, that is. I tried getting involved here on the VWAP hold. It flushed, and I was going to get back involved here as it reclaimed. Caught it late, just didn't feel comfortable getting involved. And then took it off my radar as I just felt like I didn't like the daily structure, but man, what an absolute beast. A $1.50 move from $4 where my initial entry was all the way up to $5.50. Just crazy strength on this thing. And yeah, just really frustrating on my part. That, you know, I recognized some level of strength and a setup of sorts as it kind of bounced off of the 9 SMA here on the 4 hour. Gap up above this spinning top doji candle on the daily, and then never retested the body of yesterday's candle, and then just launched. So unfortunately I gave that $12, $13, and yeah, I could have made significantly more if I was just a little bit more patient with it. VXRT, this was a gapper in after hours yesterday. Tried to pull something out of nothing in pre-market here at this re-break of this pennant structure, and it was just it didn't have any strength. So I bought it, flushed, then flushed more, cut it, got bottom ticked. 68.79, 68.90.01. Yeah, I almost got bottom ticked, and then it pushed up through 70 to 73.5, and I was down $21. So I was looking for the curl here through the 9 and the hold of the 9 SMA on the 30-minute. But again, not my type of setup. My setup is this. Nice base, break of this 30-minute base, perfect structure, and you just let it ride. You just let it ride. Yeah. Unfortunately, I really flubbed this trade, because I could be swinging some of this. I really could be swinging some of this. You know, from a 114 entry, 5,000 shares, could have made $1,000. More, actually, up to 142, that's 30 cents. that's $1,500 if I would have held from bottom to top. But yeah, just really, really frustrating. Need to do a better job of focusing on my setups and not trying to get fancy with all these other types of trades that everyone else is better at than me. I'm good at what I'm good at, and I need to focus on what I'm good at, and not try and be like other traders when my types of setups aren't present. So need to stay patient, and need to just really focus on my setups, and continuing to feel comfortable sizing into those setups, and making sure that I'm executing and staying away from those B and C setups that I just get chopped out of and I give my day back to. So tomorrow's a new day. Looking forward to see what IBIO can do tomorrow, if anything. Yeah, we'll go from there. So that was today.